Hello everybody, and Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I don't know when this video will go up, but hopefully within a day or two of Christmas, or maybe even on Christmas Day. Geometry Dash 2.2 is out, and with it, a lot of new features have been added to the game. So, out of these features, one of the most difficult ones that I feel like a lot of people are going to have to adjust to is the building community with the brand new GD editor. So, for the sake of this video, allow me to just open the editor, and yeah, it's a lot of new stuff that wasn't in the previous update. So, I'm going to be spending this video teaching any people who want to be begin building for maybe their New Year's resolution. They want to join the building community and start making levels. Now, I might not make levels the best, in fact, far from it. However, I am definitely capable of teaching you the basics of how to build levels in Geometry Dash. Maybe your levels look something along the lines of this, and you wish for your level's building skill to increase. Maybe by the end of this video, you'll be able to build something, maybe not as good as this, but at least you'll be getting somewhere with your building skill. So with that being said, let us begin with the basics of starting your level. The first thing you might want to do, depending on your level, is start a start position so you don't accidentally verify your level. Actually, this isn't important at all. This is just kind of an OCD thing for all you OCD people. Yeah. Next, you're going to want to maybe choose a background. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to pick this one. Depending on the theme of your level, which is one of the main aspects of building in Geometry Dash, you could pick a different background. However, for the sake of this one, I'm just going to pick this basic one, along with this basic flooring here. Actually, what floor is this? Oh, that's that one. Never mind. I want this one. So yeah. Now that we have our flooring and our background, the next thing you're going to want to do is, now that we've picked a theme, you're going to want to pick the difficulty of your level. Now, this is something you don't necessarily choose. This is just something you might want to think in your head. For the sake of this video, let's just make a hard-rated level. Anywhere between like a hard and an insane. So yeah. Maybe you're going to want to adjust the colors a bit. Just know that colors need to contrast well together in order to make a visually pleasing level. You don't want a level that has really colors that are very distant from each other, because then it doesn't make a pleasing visual. Maybe if you turn on blending, they do, but for the sake of this video, we'll get to that later. It's just blend into the ground too. I don't know what MG is, actually, but I feel like I'll find out. As for the colors, I would usually say leave color 1 blank, because you're most likely going to be changing it throughout the level. Maybe at a more advanced level, you would change color 1, but for beginners, I would recommend leaving color 1 blank for now. As for color 2, actually, I'll get to this later. As for our song, I can just put Can't Let Go, I suppose. And now we have our little level here. Cool. So, for the sake of this video, I'm going to teach you how to use a more modernistic style, meaning that for here's what we're going to do. Actually, remember what I said about not changing color 1? We're going to change color 1 to be the background color, but slightly darker. Or maybe just like more red. Actually, that could work, yes. So that's what we will do. And then we can change the OBJ color, which I don't know where that is. What is MG? I don't know, but I'll make it that color. Yeah, I don't know what MG is. Anyway, for the sake of this, let's just make the OBJ color 1. And now we have just a simple plain block that doesn't look too special. But let us kind of just start using this block and putting it in a little platform like this. This is just your simple, everyday Geometry Dash platform, but a little more basic and simple. Same thing with the spikes. Well, I guess you don't have to, but it makes it better if you just make it blend in. You can maybe do something like this as the start of your level, and it doesn't really look too complicated. The only bad thing about 2.2 is I don't really know where the object color went, so I don't actually know how to change it. But yeah, also I think there's new fonts with the update. There is actually quite a lot of them, but I'll get to that another time. There's 60 fonts. For the sake of for now, I'll just put it on font 1. But we could definitely change it later. For anyone that doesn't know how I got these colors to change, it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is hit this button here, click on More, Color 1 to all the way to, like, I don't know, 999, and you just change the color of the thing you want to use. And then whenever you want to edit the color of something, you click on an object, click Edit Object, and then you can change the color of that object with whatever color presets you have. So for now, I'm just going to focus on gameplay, and I will cut this video back when we get to more complex things. Okay, as you can see, I didn't do too much here, but here we have a little thing I would like to show you. So for those of you who have played Geometry Dash, you know that saw blades are objects that will kill you if you run into them. However, with most objects, they can be designed through the editor. There is multiple ways to design a saw blade. However, I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways to do it that work very well and look nice with everything. This is also going to be your introduction to the Edit Special button on the side here. So in order to prevent a saw blade from spinning too fast in your level and looking out of place, you can change the custom rotate action to maybe like 40 in order to prevent it from spinning too much. And then you can, even though this design does look okay just as it is, you can put another saw on top of it, edit that one to be 40 in spin rotation, and then simply make it slightly smaller than the other one, maybe like a scale of 80. And just like that, you have a really cool looking object that you can use to do anything you want. I'm actually going to change the edit as 2 and just leave it like that. So now we have our color 2 as white. Maybe I'll make my color 3 now. I'll make it like a purpley color. Like a light purple. Yeah, that. Alright, cool. So now I have that as well. Now, with your new saw blade, you can just use it to fill up any empty space in your level that you think it could potentially go in. So here's what you could do. This requires you to have some triggers here. So allow us to introduce to you the alpha trigger. The alpha trigger is one of 3 triggers I'll be teaching you how to use in this video, technically 4, but the alpha trigger is going to be the first one that I show to you fully. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to add a group ID time. For the sake of this, I'll just put it at 0, 1, and the opacity can stay at 0 entirely. So here's what's going to happen with this alpha trigger. For those of you that don't know what the alpha trigger does, it makes whatever is in that group invisible. So currently we have nothing in group 1, but we can take every orb and put them in group 1. Now that I've added that, excuse me, all of our orbs are invisible, but there is something we can do to make it flesh out a little more. We can add a design for the orb. Now, one of the most simple ones to do is just take this block here and put it over where the orb originally was, and then change the color of your orb or your toggle trigger to be whatever color the orb was. That's the wrong one. Just like so. Now, you have a design for your yellow orb. Since there's another yellow orb here, we can do that. Now your orbs are squares instead of circles, which is a small little design choice that you can make in order to flesh out your level a little more. I've used this a couple times in different levels, and if you're too lazy to make another one, you can simply just hit this copy plus paste button and drag it over to where the other orbs are, and then just simply make a new color. This is a green orb here, so let me make it like a lightish green color for the orb. And then this black orb up here can be changed. I don't really like using black in modernistic levels, especially for orb design, because it kind of looks out of place. But so what you could do in order to make it more colorful is simply just use a lighter gray. Oh, I used the wrong one. Whoops. Detail 2. Never mind. Base 2, detail 6, and there you go. Now you have a black orb. You could make it black, but in reality, it doesn't really matter what color you make it. It's not that important. So yeah, that's just the basic of design for orbs. The pads, I don't really know how to make pad design, so I would recommend maybe looking up a tutorial for that if you want to. That's basic orb design. You could also do a bunch of other different types of orb design, so allow me to show you what other possible things you could do with some other different types of orbs. I don't know anything you could do with dash orbs, or spider orbs, or teleport orbs, since these look okay on their own, and these are new, and that's new, and they're already kind of designed, so in reality you could do whatever you want with them. But I will cut this video back once I've gotten some designs down for these orbs. Here are some basic orb designs for different types of levels. Obviously, the square design that I showed you earlier, which is just an alpha triggered orb covered by a square toggle trigger that looks similar to the orb color. This one is used in some levels, both in some modernistic levels. It's just a circle of whatever color orb it is. In this case, it's a purple one, and it's just a purple circle. It's kind of hard to see because of the background, so I can change that real quick for you. That's just a purple circle. You can have maybe a little thing rotating around your orb. Like so. There are things like that in the saw blade section, which I placed right here. Obviously, I showed you where the toggle trigger is. I forgot to show you where the circle is. I'm pretty sure the circle is within this section, yet it is right here. I just simply messed with the proportions of it using this scale, and I made it the same size as the orb. This is just a simple glow thing. It is in this section here, and it is on the very back page. This is the front page. All you gotta do is just click one back, and there you go. You can mess it around with it, make it whatever color you want, really. It really depends on your style here and your imagination. This is something used in a lot of levels that have more of a theme. You just simply take the orb, your orb of choice, and put a little black dot in the middle of it, just to add some extra detail to your orb. And finally, you can add a little pulsing thing. I actually don't know where I found that. I think I found it in here somewhere. Maybe not. I haven't seen most of these before, but they're cool looking. You can do a lot with a lot of different things here. But yeah, that's mainly orb design for you. You could also do stuff with portals, however, I don't. Mainly because of the fact that I don't know how. So, with this modernistic style, this is simply what you can do with your level. You got an orb design, you got your really basic block design. You can really do whatever style you want for block design. Just make sure it looks okay with the background that I have used. Now that I actually really quick want to do something, can I bring the orbs back? There is something I should show you specifically with this green orb here, this circle here. This is the introduction to layering. Layering is a thing that a lot of professional creators and myself use. All you have to do really is just take your circle, hit edit group, and there's a Z layer. The Z layer allows you to background and foreground different things. So I simply used T2, which is foreground, and I could put this black circle in front of the green orb, because if I weren't going to, it would show up behind the green orb, like so. So you have to use layering in order to correctly do different things with it. And I also did kind of scale this down to not 50, but you get my point. That's layering 101. Next up, I'm going to teach you how to use the start position trigger. Say you want to test a part later in your level. I'm not going to use this level, since this level's kind of short. However, I will go to another one of my levels so I can show you how to use start position. This is another level of mine called Land of No Return, which will be coming soon, I promise. And start positions allow you to play your level from a different part that isn't the beginning. All you have to do, this is actually like 60% into the level. But usually you have to play from 0, but with the start position trigger, you don't have to. You can start your level from literally wherever you want. So here's what I recommend you use this for. If you want to practice different parts of your level, you can simply place a start position in front of it, look around the rest of the level in order to find the previous speed portal, so you know what speed to make your start position, so you can adjust that, and then your game mode that you're supposed to be, and then whether you're in mini, mirror, dual, reverse, flip, rotate, and then just play your level. You can play your level from a different section in order to practice it, or just simply test it out, or both. It doesn't matter what you use it for. You can just use it in order to get a feel for different parts of your level. Make sure nothing's maybe out of whack, stuff like that. And I guess while I'm on this level, allow me to teach you how color trigger. The color trigger simply teaches you how to change the color of certain things, whether that's background object or a entire color group. Allow me to show you what this level looks like, and as these color triggers get moved, you can have the background change as the level goes on. Now, there are definitely easier ways to do this than just to put a color trigger for each thing. That's just how I know how to do it. There are definitely other tutorials that probably teach you how to do it better than this. This is just the way I do it because it's what I'm familiar with. Feel free to do whatever you want with how you do your color changes for your background and stuff like that. Alright, we are back on our level that I just helped people maybe make. So here's how the color trigger works. I'll put it right here. And let's make it change color ID background. You can make it change a background, ground, line, object, 3D line, and then whatever MG is, I still don't know. You can adjust how long it takes to fade in or out. I would just recommend keeping it unless you have certain things in mind. Then, obviously, the color of your thing that you want to change it to. So let's change the background to be green here, just because Christmas colors are very cool, and it is definitely December right now. So what you could do is simply just change that, keep fade time at 0.50, and then color ID background. And now when you hit that second orb, it changes the color of the background to green instead of pink like it is over here. So with that being said, there is also, I will teach you how to adjust it. Maybe at the end of your level, we can go back to Land of No Return now. So at the end of Land of No Return, with this section here, there is a part of the level, which I will actually play. I think this is, 3 times speed, and I don't need to adjust anything else, so. Oh, that doesn't change instantly. However, it can with the help of this. So I'll just adjust this real quick. I'll put it back later. You can adjust this here to change how fast or slow the background changes to the color you want. Like so. You can just change how fast it blends in. I actually might keep it at 0, 1. So let's see here. Yeah, I might keep that actually. But yeah, that's how the color triggers work. You can basically just change the color of anything using the group ID and whatever color you want to change it to, and then your fade time. I wouldn't really recommend worrying about anything else, and if you plan to make levels with blending in order to, say you want to make like a glow style level, you might want to turn on blending. However, I'm not here to teach you that. That is a professional's job, not mine, because I suck at using blending. So this is how I'm going to teach you the move trigger. The move trigger is a trigger that I mainly orient with making backgrounds. So this is a level that I made a while back, and I've used a move trigger in order to make this background move. It's not very complicated, it's just a couple blocks that change along with the song, but it isn't too hard to replicate, so allow me to just show you how to do that now. So here's how you use the move trigger, and here's how you make a background. I have the background on group 1, which I will teach you how to use next. So here's how the move trigger works. The move trigger, if you click Edit Object, has a setup move command. This is a lot different from what I'm used to, actually, because this is the first time I've opened a move trigger in 2.2. I'll just teach you the basics of what I know on how to use a move trigger. So you mainly need to only focus on, for now, these 4 things here. Anything else is a professional's job, not mine. So you want to focus on your move X, your move Y, your move time, and your target group ID. I have these blocks here on group 2, so they would all move together. So if I click here, you want to make your target group ID, the group that your background or whatever else you're trying to move is on. So you might want to maybe single out the thing you're trying to move, put it on its own personal group in order to single-handedly move it, and nothing else. This is your move time. This is how long your object will be moving for. As you can see, this first part is about 16 seconds long, so I have the first background move for about 16 seconds. Then your move X and move Y. Your move X is, if it's in the positives, it will move to the right, and if it's in the negatives, it will move to the left. This here, your number, is simply how many blocks it will move to the right or left. However, with an extra 0 attached to it. This will actually only move 13 blocks. The 0 is there to help. I don't actually know why the 0 is there. But you have to multiply everything by 10 in order to get the thing you want. So this background will move 13 blocks to the right because it's in the positives. If it's in the negatives, it moves down. If it's in the positives, it moves up. But that's how the Y trigger works. And yet again, it is the same as the X trigger, where the 0 is there. So it actually moves 7 blocks down, which can be seen by how this moves here. I'm bad, but anyway, that's fine. That's how the move trigger works. Now allow me to teach you how to use layering in a more complex fashion. I'm not going to grab the whole background, but I'll grab like a part of it, and if I see edit group, you can see how this is obviously on group 2, so it can move, but the Z layer, it is on background 2, meaning that it is on its own layer away from the actual platforms themselves, which are on group T1, which is the foreground for any level. Basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your background lower than T1, assuming that your foreground is on T1. I would just recommend for any beginner, put your solid objects on T1 and put your background or foreground on B2 or lower, depending on how many aspects you want to add to your background. I'll show you a little extra bit of that in a second. So as you can see, we're back in one of my other levels, and this is how the background and foreground work. So actually, this is a bad example because this is really the only background. So we're going to go to a different part of the level, the very beginning, which has multiple different aspects to its background and even its foreground, but I'll get to the foreground in a second. The background is what we're here for to see. So these chains here, obviously, the foreground is on what I assume to be T1. So the background has to be lower than T1. These chains here are on B4, and the clouds are on also B4. However, if you want to change that and put certain things below or certain things behind other things, you can change that by simply just changing the B layering for different things. So basically, B2 is behind B1, B3 is behind B2, and so on, and it changes this way. So B3 is behind B2, T1 is behind T2. So these are all foreground stuff. This is like your platforms and like where your actual level is, and then this is all background related stuff just to flesh out your level a little more. And this is where I'm going to teach you foreground. Foreground isn't something that a lot of people like know at the start. However, foreground is pretty simple to make. All you gotta do is go to your foreground. This is a very simple foreground, but it works very efficiently. It is only... Oh, that counts the other blocks. Okay, I'll put it like up here or something. I don't know. I have this saved, so I can just dump that here again. This is only a 12 object foreground, but it works very efficiently. It's just a bunch of these triggers, or not triggers, these little half glow blocks in the glow section here somewhere. I think it's this one, stacked on top of each other on 2 separate rows. So 4 different of these. And then these swirlies are just to add a little bit of, just a little bit extra visual to your level. You don't have to add them. I would just recommend adding this little block, maybe scaling it as much as you could in order to make this background here. You don't have to add a foreground to make your level look good, as most of my modern levels don't have foreground. However, this level does, and I think it does it pretty well. If I were to go into play, I forgot about the start position. So, as you can see, it kind of fades in. It's also not that easy to see because of the opacity that I have used with the alpha trigger, since alpha triggers do control opacity for different things. Higher it is, the easier it is to see your object, and the lower it is, it is either completely invisible or it is barely visible. So that is how you use that. You can also finally, let's go back to this level. Let me teach you how to use one last trigger, the pulse trigger. I said I was only going to teach you 4, but I have changed my mind. We're going to learn 5 triggers here. I'm going to have channel ID 1. And we're going to have it go, I usually do it like this. 10, 20, 10. It's a very small pulse. It only holds for a 1/4 of a second. However, it is used to temporarily change it. It's basically a color trigger, but it only changes it for a small amount of time. And that is how you use 5 triggers, background and foreground. You do some orb design and some basic modern block design. There are plenty of different things you can do with your level in order to make it more fleshed out and look more visually pleasing. This might not have been the best tutorial, but hey, I'm not too much of a tutorial guy myself. This is just a simple basic tutorial to teach people who are getting into Geometry Dash how to use the editor if they so wish. If you have anything else that you want to know about the editor, I would recommend simply just watching a Woolsey video. He does a great job explaining how to use more advanced parts of the editor and how to make your levels have cool effects, cool block design, cool background design, and other things like that. With that being said, thank you for watching this little tutorial video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I'm sorry I'm not the best at this whole thing, but I still do appreciate you for taking time out of your day to maybe even learn the editor a little bit better than you might already know. I don't know what words I just said there, but you get my point. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have anything else you want to learn about the editor, either tell me about it and I can showcase how to do it, or you can just simply watch a Woolsey video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next time I upload. Bye!